Let's begin. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Meaningless and confused, we float in the void between Christmas and New Year's, where time means nothing and reality is but a figment of the imagination of an elder god. I am Ruskeydoo.
I thought I was the one who was drinking whiskey.
Oh, I've started as well.
Oh, fair enough. And I'm Grey.
And this is Podcast76. Oh, so, I mean, nothing's happening at Blizzard right now. They're all on holiday.
Yeah, they're all taking at least some well-deserved time off.
And I think that's really fair play.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can imagine, especially like people like Jeff, who literally lives, breathes, and sleeps Overwatch. I can imagine him getting pretty burnt out.
I am amazed they seem as sane as they are. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know what their actual sanity is like because I don't know them, but they all come across as sane human beings still, and that's very impressive.
I mean, crushing nerds, but who's not a crushing nerd around here, right? We're doing a podcast on a computer game.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So, what has happened this week in the Overwatches? Well, there is Hero Lore with Michael Chu. There is Bastion and Sombra victory poses. There is Jeff's Yule log. There is hashtag Overwatch League. Season 7 has ended, and which ship wins? So first up,
Hero Lore with Michael Chu. So this is just another one of those videos where one of the Overwatch devs, this time Michael Chu, who's kind of in charge of Overwatch lore and the backstory, goes and talks to a magazine or a website or whoever, and gives them some more detail on Overwatch.
And when you say some more detail, what you mean is the same detail, because they've been over the origins of Overwatch so many different times that there is no new information anymore. It
does pain me slightly how slow the Overwatch story is moving. Like, I get that they have this problem, which is every time they introduce a new hero, that hero isn't advancing the story. What they're actually doing is continuing to fill out the backstory. So, like, Moira is sort of like cobbled on to the story that they already had, and like, here's how she contributed to this. And like, so every time you introduce a new hero, you're not actually increasing, you're not moving us forward in time. What actually is happening is we're going slightly backwards in time and showing where this person existed and what was happening at the time.
I'm not sure that we really want the story to move that far forwards. Because, okay, right, so there's explaining the world of Overwatch and as it stands, and, kind of some narrative around why we're playing these battles or whatever, which honestly don't make a lot of sense. But it's so abstract from the actual game.
So?
I just worry that, okay, so you remember when, like, Doomfist was put into Numbani, and that was really cool, except a load of stuff made absolutely no sense. But
surely this is, so what you do is you tie it less into hero releases and more into map releases, where new events happen in new areas.
Yeah, but I don't think we want to be moving the story. I think, like, expanding the world, telling us what's happening at this point in time where all this stuff's going down. But, like, if we move the plot too far forwards, then we're no longer where we were, and loads of, like, the events that we're playing in Overwatch won't make sense.
But, okay, so, but if you've ever played a massively multiplayer online role-playing game, such as World of Warcraft, you get to play through its history. Not all of it, but a lot of it. Like, you can still go to Northrend and go through the story of the Lich King.
But here's the thing. Do you have some bits where in, like, one part of the world people are saying, well, it's a good job the Lich King died 500 years ago, and then you literally get on a boat and then you're like, oh, hey, we're fighting the Lich King. What's going on?
Yeah, not far off.
That does actually happen.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because essentially what happens is, like, if you go to, because expansions add new areas to the game, you can literally kind of go from one part of the world to another and kind of, like, you're taken through a flow of events.
Yeah.
And you kind of go from, like, oh, so this is, we have this bit of history here where we did this, and then we have this bit of history here where we did this. And so it's like, you are taken through this slow in time. Now, eventually what has ended up happening, because the game is, 15 years old now? Like, bits get updated and like events no longer exist, and it's a little bit of a shame.
Right.
But you can still play through a lot of the story and fight.
Fair enough.
Fight a lot of the people who are a big part of the Warcraft lore.
Yeah. I guess what I'd like to see in Overwatch is more fleshed out backstories as opposed to pushing characters forwards. Like, I want to know about who they are much more than I want to, I don't know, see them resolve the Omnic Crisis.
Do you want, like, I don't think I want to see the Omnic Crisis resolved, but so we've been kind of building up to Overwatch getting back together for basically since the game came back, right?
I mean, that's what's happening when the game's taking place, kind of thing.
Exactly. I'd like to know, okay, so now what? Like, what's the next step after, is it one of those things of like, are there factions where there's...
Here's the thing, while it's unpinned down and a bit like nebulous, I don't have to be hideously disappointed by it. You see what I'm saying?
No, I see what you're saying.
Like, I don't feel everything has to be explained.
Okay, it's fair. I don't know. I'd just like a little bit of progression. Or if we're not getting progression, I want the back story to be much more filled out.
Yeah, sure. I'm down with that.
I'd like for us to be like really exploring who these characters are. And I really enjoy the way they fleshed out characters in game. Like the voice lines and the interactions have just gotten better and better. But I want to know a lot more about them. I want to know a lot more about Zenyatta.
But bear in mind that the more that they reveal about stuff, the more they paint themselves into corners.
Yep, it's true.
So
it's true.
So one new bit of information in this video, which I quite liked, was how Bastion's voice is done.
Oh, yes.
That it's a heavily modulated Chris Metzen.
Yes.
And he tried, like... Michael Chu's trying to get him to, like, sing songs and stuff, but the pitch is off. So it takes him a bajillion tries to... Yeah, I just like that.
Yeah.
That tickled me.
There are a few nuggets in there and some interesting bits and pieces, but for the most part, if you know the Overwatch lore, you know all this stuff already.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's all right. I enjoyed it. It's not like I turned off halfway through thinking, it just, yeah. So next... Bastion and Sombra victory poses.
Yes.
Now, these were meant to be... Well, they weren't meant to be in the Christmas update. They were made for this Christmas update, but they didn't make the cut. But they made it into a load of the promotional material. So people saw a Bastion and a Sombra toast victory pose, and then when the game... Well, when the update drops and it's not there, people were like, what's going on? So... What Blizzard are doing is, sometime early January, everyone's just going to get the Sombra and Bastion toast for free.
Yes, which is really nice. But
yeah.
I do
have toast, of course, being holding up a mug or glass or something.
Yes, and Bastion's one is totally adorable.
Yes, Bastion's one, he has him holding up a cup and his little bird. You know how birds bathe in bird baths with the dip in the head and the shake in the neck, and it's toast cute? It's doing that. So cute, so cute.
But cute. I do have a slight contention. You said that they didn't make the cut. What they actually says is that they weren't originally intended for use in our Winter Wonderland 2017 event. What I assume is...
do you think they were made for a future event?
I think someone was just being efficient. I was just going through them and sketched them out and kind of like... They ended up getting complete and they said, well, we only need, X amount of poses for this year. But they still made...
I'm not sure. I suspect they do them. I suspect they'd make all the toasts and then they'd be like, hey, which one's going to make the cut?
I can imagine some of them wouldn't have made the cut, but I don't think that's the case with these. I think they make loads and loads and loads and they kind of do a whole bunch of iterations and go through like the whole process, their pipeline of like, here's the vague pose, here's the sketch, blah, 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 here's what we think it'll look like, and then they'll add some animations and they'll kind of tweak it a little bit, and then they'll go through like, well, we like these ones and not these ones, let's kind of do another iteration of these ones that we liked. It's because like, I imagine they did like 2 or 3 versions of what Bastion would do. So we'll have a version where it's in tank pose, and but eventually we end up with like, okay, we are only doing this amount for this event.
In this many.
So we'll set these ones aside for next year.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, free stuff, which is nice. Sure, I'll take it.
Yes.
If you insist.
Oh, I do.
Yes. Next, Jeff's use log. Was this on the 24th?
Yes, it was.
Christmas Eve.
Yep.
This was on Twitch.
On the Play Overwatch Twitch. The official Overwatch Twitch.
And what we got was Jeff sitting in a chair near a log fire for a very, very long time.
I think it was something like 3 hours.
But they cheated, obviously.
Yes, of course. So it wasn't literally just Jeff sitting there for 3 hours. What they do is they do like various poses and they do transitions from one pose to another, and then they like figure out ways to like morph it so that you can't tell where one loop ends and the next one begins.
Yep.
And then they did little inserts in there of things like dropping a microphone on Jeff's head, and Jeff, like, seriously?
Oh, yeah, the boom mic.
Yeah, the boom mic.
Yeah. Conversation with the producer about how long he was going to be there for. Yep.
Opening a present, which was a picture of Genji saying, Genji with, I need healing.
Yeah. Almost having a cookie.
And then not. And then almost having a cookie, and then not. And then finally having the cookie.
Yeah.
Saying, and now I'm going to reveal who Hero 27 is, and then it all getting fuzzy.
It got hacked or something.
And then
a lot of people are trying to read a lot into that.
Yes,
I'm
of course.
I'm not sure there's that much to read into it, but, you know, knock yourself
they
out.
could be. They could be. Who knows? Yeah. And a gift given to Dino Flask, our favourite YouTuber, who creates stuff out of what Jeff says, and he gave them the gift of, well, he said three words, but it was actually 4, which was orca, killer whale, and gratuitous. Yeah.
Well, is there a particular relevance of those words to Dino Flask?
Well, no. But this is why a lot of people are saying, oh, look, this is clearly something to do with Hero 27. These words are like an anagram of Hero 27's name or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe.
I have no idea. But, you know, it was kind of cute. They're not the first people to do this, but it was just kind of charming. And it had some silly amount of people watching at some stage.
Yeah, I believe we got up to like 40,000.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's a bit nuts, right?
Yeah.
Huh.
They're there.
Okay. Next up, hashtag Overwatch League.
Now, this specific tweet is not what I want to talk about.
Okay.
But if you look at this is a hashtag on Twitter, and if you go to any hashtag Overwatch League tweet, what you notice is after the hashtag Overwatch League is a small picture. That small picture is the Overwatch League like picture, which is the tracer with orange behind her and kind of blue in front of her. So blue on the left, orange on the right.
Isn't it black and orange?
Is it black and orange? I thought it was a very dark blue.
Is it? I'm looking at it right now. It looks black.
Oh, maybe. Hang on, wait. I'm going to the Overwatch League website.
Now, is it just me, or did that used to be red and blue?
You're right, because of the MLG thing, wasn't it?
Is that where the baseball people sued them? And maybe that's why they've changed to black and yellow.
Maybe. I don't know anymore.
Because I'm pretty sure that used to be blue and red, because that's the normal kind of like American sports thing.
Yeah, you're right. You're totally right.
I think that might be a change that they've made at some point.
Yeah, and it's just completely flown on the radar for me. But anyway, yes. So the interesting thing about this is not cheap to do. There's only one report where we know how much people paid for it, and that was back in like 2014, 2015, I think, where Major League Baseball, was it MLB?
Okay.
Anyway, but some major league paid for this, and they paid $1 million to have this happen. Yeah, like we're talking megabucks.
Wow.
Now,
why? I mean,
very, very simple for Overwatch League, which is having the iconography appear all the time so that people see it, even if they don't know they see it. It means that when it pops up in other places, they have that familiarity, that sort of,
it's like
that thing.
Product presence type thing.
Absolutely. And it just makes people feel like, oh, this is everywhere. This is something I know. This is something I've clearly got, like, you know, this is in my brain, and therefore I should be watching it.
Yes. Other tweets that happened this week, which we haven't written up. Do you see that tweet about Flower coming to the Overwatch League?
Yes, probably for the New York Excelsiors.
Yes. That's exciting.
Yes, I do like watching Flower play.
From the World Cup, Flower was quite good.
Yes, as was his buddy Sabiolbi, who I think is also playing for New York Excelsiors. So having those duo back together again, well, it makes New York Excelsiors a lot more interesting to me.
Yeah, it makes them look a little bit better.
And they weren't exactly bad to begin with.
Yeah.
I'm kind of trying to figure out where are we? New York Excelsiors. Oh, I can't actually see the list there. Oh, well, I was going to see if I could see their roster, but it's not there. Okay, moving on.
Speaking of competitive Overwatch, Season 7 has ended.
Now, this was a surprisingly short season. The end...
Well, it wasn't surprisingly short. They told us it was going to be short.
It still surprised me.
Oh, that's fair. It was a surprisingly short season.
Yeah. Like, I knew exactly how long it was, and then I was suddenly like, oh, right, the season's over. It felt very short to me. I'm not against it per se, but
I don't think it felt bad.
No, I think it's the right thing to do. I think that these shorter seasons are going to be good because I think people got burned out towards the end of seasons. We just had to keep playing. And what this does is it means that if you need to take a break, you can actually take a week. You just say, I'm not playing competitive for a week. I'm taking a break, and it doesn't affect. You don't get the SR decay.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I actually just don't have to play. And I think that's good for people. Like, even if they wouldn't have played for those 2 days anyway, and then they, continue playing after 2 days normally, I think the mental idea of I don't have to play, I can do this whenever I want, is good for people.
Yes. Now, it should be noted. The new season kicks in on the 31st, I believe.
Yes.
However, the new thing in Season 8 about it being purely based on your win-loss is not going to be implemented right at the beginning of the season.
No.
So there's going to be a couple of days at the beginning of the season where Blizzard are still on holiday, where you're still going to have performance-based SR.
Yep.
But people still don't understand how much, or how little performance-based SR actually affects your ranking and such.
Yes. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't understand how the new MMR was going to work until after our previous episode.
Yes, I didn't think I explained it well at all. I think I
just completely misread it. I thought the way they were saying it was that you will get a fixed amount of SR per win per loss.
Yeah, no, it's going to be, your MMR will adjust without, as a team as a whole.
Yes, so what it is going to be is an ELO rating system, essentially, where both teams are assigned numbers which represent their overall skill as a team, and then how much you win or lose will be based on how much better or worse the enemy team is from you. So hopefully over time you just kind of get placed at your skill rating.
And even then, if you're way ahead of your hidden MMR, you will get less SR put on.
Yes.
Because it'll try and match your SR to your hidden MMR.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're still going to have loads of numbers thrown out there, and don't worry about it. Yeah.
So, there we go. Season 7's over, and Season 8 shall begin soon, and we'll see how that goes.
Lastly, which ship wins? Now, this isn't referring to the new name for El Presidente tactic, which is the pirate ship.
No.
The pirate ship being, Orisa creates the sails on the cart with her shield, Reinhardt is another set of sails, and Bastion becomes a cannon on the pirate ship.
Yes. But we don't talk about that because it's a little bit frustrating to play against if you don't have people who are organised and willing to all jump at the same time.
But it's some lovely imagery, I think.
I agree. I like the way that it looks. It definitely becomes a pirate ship.
Yes.
Especially with the fore and the aft sails.
Yes. So what ship is this, Grey?
This is a relationship. And specifically, this is the most popular relationships in Overwatch. Well, the top popular theoretical relationships. The people where people go, I want to pair this character with this character.
We're talking fanfic, right?
We are talking fanfic. We are talking about people getting really, really nerdy and saying which heroes they want to have romantic relationships, sexual relationships.
We should explain what this is. This is actually a tweet by Google.
Yes. So basically, apparently Overwatch has become so popular that Google have, it's kind of piqued Google's interest, and they've done a report on which heroes, which ships, which relationships are the most popular. Which I just find kind of both
well, we should say this
baffling.
isn't necessarily relationships, because I bet this also includes Google image search. So maybe some people are looking for one-night stands between Reaper and Soldier 76.
But that's a type of relationship. A one-night stand is a type of relationship.
I guess. No, that's true. That's true. Fair, fair.
Absolutely. But anyway, the ones that apparently are very popular, I just love this. McHanzo, which is McCree and Hanzo.
Yeah.
Reaper 76, Jack Morrison and Reyes getting back together again. Oh, they just can't. Pharmacy, obviously, Farah Mercy. There's, a lot of people talk about that. It's Widow Tracer, where Tracer clearly doesn't love Emily that much and instead prefers Widowmaker. This
obviously
whole love-hate relationship thing, right? Like, you know how that is.
Yeah,
the person who you of enmity, and Road Rat.
Which, that's got to be gnarly.
That's an interesting relationship right there.
It's intriguing. Sorry, go on.
They didn't have my favourite relationship on there, which is Bastorb.
Bastorb, right. Is that a thing? I guess there was a little bit of that in the comic, wasn't there?
There's a little bit of like, clearly there's something going on here, that these two have a special understanding. Yeah, absolutely.
It's interesting that none of these are heterosexual relationships.
Yeah.
Clearly what people look up.
Yes. So one of the first things I did is I went to Google Trends and I've looked up McHanzo to find out what are the related searches, what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean, have you read any of the McHanzo stories?
I have not done that depth of research.
Geez, we should narrate some.
We so should.
Maybe that should totally be New Year's episode. Just reading
reading
out McHanzo fanfic.
I'm so down for that. But here's
what play Hanzo on McCree. This could be awkward.
Oh god, one of us is going to butcher the Japanese accent.
I'll have to check I'm okay to do this with my wife first. This is kind of like we're going to be Cyber and Grey, I'm just saying.
But here's what's really interesting to me. The most popular place for McHanzo fanfiction is Finland.
What?
Finland. Second by Canada.
Right. But wait, that means if McHanzo got to the top, is it just there's a hell of a lot of Finnish people looking at McHanzo?
Who really maybe. I don't know. I mean, US is in there, but they're third on the list.
Those cold, lonely nights by the fireplace.
Yep. And then there's also related queries. So there's McHanzo Dojinshi, which is essentially, I think it's comic books. Dojinshi is where it's actually got a storyline.
Okay.
Second, Jeff Kaplan McHanzo. I don't quite know how they want Jeff Kaplan involved, but I'm intrigued.
Whoa, Jeff Kaplan breaking up the relationship.
Then McHanzo comic. Makes sense. I think it's basically the same as the first one. Then McHanzo fanfiction for those who, I guess, like to read more than the visual stuff.
Yeah.
And then the last one, number 5, is McHanzo Lemon.
That's not a reference to Lemon Party, is it?
I have no idea. I'm not brave enough to Google that.
If, dear listeners, you don't understand what Lemon Party is, scrub it from your mind. Do not look that up.
Yeah,
seriously, it's gnarly.
But anyway, I found that rather interesting, and I had no idea what to do with the information, but I'm glad it's out there.
I mean, this is up there with finding out that Overwatch is really big on Pornhub.
Yeah, it's well, what's interesting is how much homosexual relationships clearly are a part of what people want out of these characters. It's just very interesting that there's just no straight pairings in there at all.
Well, I mean, maybe there's one at 6th. Well, I mean, guess who would the straight pairings be? Here's the thing, what, Soldier and Anna? There's clearly some tension there.
Oh, no, it's Reinhardt and Anna, surely.
Oh, yeah, I guess. No, they were a one-night stand, I got the impression.
Maybe. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But there's definitely fondness there, isn't there? Let's see. Which are the others? So there's Symmetra.
Zarya and Ryan, there's a bit of a thing going on there.
Yeah, there kind of is, isn't there?
Yeah, the whole, like, you know,
who's
pumping
stronger,
iron
like,
together.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
They could totally have a montage together. Yeah. But yeah, I do find it very interesting that it is all homosexual relationships that made it into the top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a better place to leave it than on that note.
Indeed.
Yep. Cool.
I've been Ruskeydoo.
I've been Grey, and we'll see you next year.
Oh, next year. Jesus.
It's that time of year.
Fair enough.
It's that time
See
of
you
year.
then.
See you then. Take care.